Talk about this white girl's experience dating black guys. It all started when I was 12 years old in 7th grade, and I just fell for Nathan McCoy.
This is going out to the white ladies who have dated, are interested in dating, are currently dating black men. I recently did a post where I kind of looked at the phrase, once you go black, you never go back, which is something I heard 40 years ago. And apparently there are plenty of white boys that are still using this phrase. And in fact, they like to correct it and tell me, well, once you go black, we don't want you back.
Sure. If there was a race war, you wouldn't win. Okay. First of all, you might have plenty of guns, but you don't know how to shoot them. You think this is how you shoot guns. You think this is how you shoot a pistol.
I think some of you white women who date black men should absolutely be ashamed of yourself when you know 90% of the people around you don't accept that. So not only are you putting your loved one in danger and at the risk of so much more.
Looking at my phone. Understand. Are you hard of hearing?
So if I slap you right now, are you calling the cops?
If you, first of all, okay, as soon as you reach to try to slap, I box some shit.
Sure, the cops don't believe me or you.
Had him because there was simply no competition out there for me. But let's just look at it objectively. You had this average black American guy who now was able to choose between what he was dealing with before and somebody completely new.
Welcome back to the page. Welcome back to another episode on the public opinion. Big topic, white women versus black women when it comes to dating black men. Got a nice lineup of videos. We'll look at them, give our take. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and put it down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. But without further ado, let's get started.
Get ready with me as we talk about this white girl's experience dating black guys. It all started when I was 12 years old in 7th grade, and I just fell for Nathan McCoy. He was so cute. He was black. Not only was he so cute, he was so kind. His dad was a pastor, and he was just the sweetest thing, and I fell head over heels. I was in a school that had more black people than I had ever been to before or ever seen in one place, because I was a poor white country girl living in a trailer out in the country. This took place in Mardella, Maryland. My older sister was 13 years old at the time, and she also had a boyfriend who was black. My mama was dating a man fresh out of jail who was 10 years younger than her. So I think he was 25 and I was 12. And he just got out of prison. My mom met him in prison because she did prison ministry. And he moved in with us. He was an asshole. He was a racist MFer. I hadn't really been taught racism, so I didn't see what the big deal was. It was Valentine's Day. My sister and I both came home from school with roses from our boyfriends. This man said something extremely racist and derogatory. I was 12 and 5 foot tall, and I talked back to him. I don't remember what I said, but the next thing I know, he had me by my throat and threw me all the way across the room until I hit the wall and slid down like unconscious for a minute. My 13-year-old redheaded sister was not having that. She is a fierce warrior, she is. Despite the fact that this man was a full-grown man who just got out of jail, my sister whooped his ass. She jumped on top of him, took him to the ground, and didn't stop punching. My mama is a big woman. It took all her body weight to push my sister off of him. She had to literally sit on my sister to stop my sister from tearing this man up more. I don't condone violence, but he deserved it. And today's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and I think it's just appropriate for me to talk about how far we've come and how far we still have to go for racial equality. Anyway, my sister tore this man up. Nobody called the police, which is crazy. We had the choice to either respect and obey our stepdad or leave. So me and my sister left. We moved in with our dad and stepmother, which just was going from one abusive home to another. A year later, my stepdad tried to kill my mom and went to jail for 3 years. And then a year after that, I saw him in church one day with 2 little mixed babies of his own. So I guess he came around. Senior year in high school, I was president of the student government. And in my school, if you were president of the student government, You got to walk out first in the grand march for prom, where all the parents come in and watch. I don't know if other schools do that, but that's what we did. I was still a really good girl. I was just always really focused on my grades, my extracurricular activities, working, and getting the hell out and going to college. There was a guy in the grade under me. His name was Cachet, and he was also the sweetest guy, and he was black. And I asked him to go to prom with me. And let me tell you, when the town found out, so my graduating class was 66 people, so we're talking about a really small town. And when people found out that I was going to prom with a black boy, because I was also captain of the cheerleading squad, I was the town's fire prevention queen and the state's fire prevention queen. I liked pageants. The fire department called me, said they did not approve me representing them and walking in the Grand March with a black guy. This is 1995, friends. The principal called me into his office and told me he did not approve. My drunk uncle called me one night and called me lots of choice words and threatened my life. And I got a lot of lovely notes stuck into my locker from the boys in my class, calling me choice names. You know what all that said to me? I must be doing something right. Listen, I date all ethnicities. So it's not like I only dated black men or I only dated white men or, so you know what your girl did? Your girl took him to prom. I did not understand how people could be so racist when these boys were so kind and sweet. So I went to prom with Cachet and we had a lovely time and nothing bad happened to either one of us. So thank God. I was living back with my mom at that time. She had grown a lot herself. So at that point, she was okay with it. Now she's got mixed grandbabies and they're the cutest. So then I went to college at Liberty University and got my degree in biblical studies. Prophet told me I had to marry this white kid in my church, and I did for 20 years. We separated and got divorced about 4 years ago. I was excited to taste the rainbow. I was a good Christian girl, and I didn't have sex until I was married. So I started dating this black guy. Among others, he was a short king. And he was a life coach and fantastic. And just, we saw each other for like a month. I was never intimate with him. I tried, but he always had something going on. Turns out he was married. Total lame move on his part. So now I have 4 teenagers. They can date whoever they want. I love seeing how far we've come. And I know that oppression still exists and racism still exists. But I'm just so proud to see this in my lifetime. Not only can my kids date someone from another ethnicity and color, they can date someone with another gender, with the same gender, who identify as something else, a different gender, no gender at all. It just feels great to be free. Let freedom ring, freedom ring. I appreciate all of the people who came before me to allow us freedoms.
Okay, so that took a turn. Okay, all right, look, wait a minute. I did not come here to endorse all of that, right? But I will say that her story kind of resembles the sentiment that a lot of people were talking about, where white women, when they love black men, it's something that has to be noted because they could obviously, you know, do something else. It's very likely that they could decide to, you know, not be with black men publicly or to not deal with them because of the scrutiny that they will face. But then, you know, there's people like herself who go through all of that and never waver. They never decide, no, never mind. They stick with it. They still take him to prom. They have his back. They do everything that they need to do. And you see them normally fulfilled later on in life. Not to say that one thing is better than the other. It's just that if that's your preference, I don't see that you should compromise your happiness for the opinion of others, because most of the time the opinion of others doesn't really amount to much.
Hey, this is going out to the white ladies who have dated, are interested in dating, are currently dating black men. I recently did a post where I kind of looked at the phrase, once you go black, you never go back, which is something I heard 40 years ago. And apparently there are plenty of white boys that are still using this phrase. And in fact, they like to correct it and tell me, well, once you go black, we don't want you back because we want them so badly. Yeah. not white guys in general, but those white guys who would judge us for who we date. That is not who I'm ever going to date. Not that I'm dating anybody, but because I'm married. So I just thought I learned some things, and I thought I would share this with you. Again, this is my white ladies who are dating, have dated, or think they might want to date black men. We are called lots of things. It's depressing to go and look at all the names that we are called. Not depressing because it makes me feel bad about myself, but depressing because there are so many low life, vile humans on the planet. I mean, I knew there were some. Hello, the election. But I didn't realize they were this ignorant and vibrated at such a low level. But the one I had to look up, so I just wanted to give you a heads up on this. We are called salvage title. So people were putting salvage title, or they were putting salvage. And when I first saw it, I thought, savage? But that doesn't make sense. No idea what it meant. It means we're like a car that has been totaled. No use, it's done. So the title's been salvaged. It's a salvage title, meaning the car is no longer viable. Yeah, so I've been compared to a toilet. I've been compared to now a totaled car. I've been compared to, yeah, they like to talk about my lady parts and how they are changed. You know, we can shoot 13-pound babies out of there, right? So you think any appendage could damage us? No, we tough. That is the last time I'm talking about those parts on this app. Anyways, so ladies, listen. Here's what I think. I think the great part about this is these guys are showing us exactly who they are, which I appreciate because I would want to avoid the racist, ignorant, vile white boys like the plague. So just so you know, be very open and honest with who you've dated, who you want to date, so you can weed out the losers.
So, you know, good advice, I guess, if that's what you're trying to do. I do want to just kind of speak to what she was saying about how she did not know that it was so many, or that she was not aware that it was as bad as it is. And that's one thing that kind of surprises me, because it's like these people enslaved an entire country. They like the fact that we are in the United States of America should be proof enough that these people are capable of very deplorable things. Them talking about you is probably the nicest thing they could be doing. That's probably what you want, because given a different time and a different circumstance, they be doing a whole lot more than talking.
Race war. If there was a race war, you wouldn't win. Okay. First of all, you might have plenty of guns, but you don't know how to shoot them. You think this is how you shoot guns. You think this is how you shoot a pistol. That's not. I know you saw that in a movie and you thought it looked cool. And you saw your favorite fucking rapper doing that, but that's not how you aim and shoot a gun. The only reason blacks have not exterminated themselves in the hood, because black on black violence is insane and through the roof, is because they're such horrible shots. So you really think you're gonna beat a duck hunter who shoots ducks for a living, for fun, on his free time, and doesn't miss? Really?
I think some of you white women who date black men should absolutely be ashamed of yourself when you know 90% of the people around you don't accept that. So not only are you putting your loved one in danger and at the risk of so much more that comes with people not accepting interracial relationships, if you do end up marrying this individual, you're also putting your kids at risk that you will have one day, because your family won't accept them. So then your kids are going to have to go through life knowing that family disowns them and so on. So with that being said, stop putting black men's life in danger just because you feel like you should do it. I think there's levels to dating someone to ensure their safety. If you're not one of the white women who will take that step to stand up to your white family through and through, no matter what, then it's something that you shouldn't do. And that goes for you having black friends too. Protect black men and black women, or brown or people of color in this country at all costs. Just because it's something that you want to do doesn't mean that you shouldn't take the whole picture into consideration. Yeah, love who you want to love. Do what you want to do. At the end of the day, are you really going to stand up for what's right and call out those around you, family or not family, to make sure the people that you love are safe? Because from what I see, a lot of y'all don't. And a lot of y'all have ruined your biracial children. Just as a white woman, I see this. You don't allow your children to be in their blackness. You don't teach your children about their blackness. You don't overstep and get in between people who treat your children indifferently or your loved one indifferently that you are in a relationship with. If you're not ready to do that, stop dating outside of your race. Period. You might be okay with it. That doesn't mean the people who you try to force around your kids or your loved one is okay with it. There's so many levels to this. Be mindful.
And I just want to speak to that one. You know, it makes me think about the video that I shared on the last one, the phone conversation between the girl and her mom and dad about her black boyfriend and how they wanted to take him up to the mountains and do something to him, and how her last black boyfriend, it didn't go so well. They set him up to go to jail and things like that. You know, because what she's saying is true. Like, these things happen, and when they happen, normally the white girl or the white guy or whoever it is in the situation who has the family that's doing the racially charged actions, they normally stand by. Like, they might try to help out in the beginning and say, no, mom, please don't. But eventually, like, that's their family. That's mom and dad. They're going with mom and dad. They're the ones paying tuition and everything else. Like, they're not going against their mom and dad. Some people, they're able to do so, but a lot of them are not able to do that. They fold, right? So if you're going to be in this space, you got to be ready to take on what comes with that. White women are starting to stand up for their, I guess, right to date who they want to date and not be called out for it. But also, with that right to do so, you need to understand that there's a little bit more required on your part. Right? When anybody's with their own, there's no prerequisites. It's just black dude, black girl. They can just get together. Don't nobody got to worry about nothing. He could be the biggest nerd in the world. She could be the biggest rocker in the world. They could literally act like they're not even all the way in their own culture, right? If it's black and black, it's cool. But once you mix those racial lines, then things have to be established. And they have to be established because one can't overtake the other. If you have biracial children, you can't let your biracial children act like they're white children, because they're going to get hurt in the real world doing that, because they're not actually white children and no one looks at them like that. You also can't have them out here thinking that they're just in the trenches black children either, because then they could also get into the same said trouble, because they won't be accepted by that portion as well. So both things can happen at random times.
Stop looking at my phone. Understand. Are you hard of hearing?
So if I slap you right now, are you calling the cops?
First of all, okay, as soon as you reach to try to slap, I box some
If
shit.
you're the cops, don't believe me or you. I'm putting on the best fucking sob story I could ever put on in my life. The only thing that's gonna help you is witnesses.
I got my sister right here.
Okay, so please stop.
You know what she did. When the cops come, even if you call them, guess who they're gonna believe? Because of your skin color. And I will use that to my advantage. So settle down, big boy. Imagine every time something comes up, the person goes, well, I can call the cops on you. And even if I'm in the wrong, they're gonna believe me. Would you really take that person seriously? And then on top of that, if we have children, then what happens there? The dynamics on the nuances when it comes to that. You have to actually be out of your mind to date that. How was that an appropriate response? She should have been like, hey, I don't appreciate you talking to me like that. Look, I'm just trying to be nice to you. Not, hey, well, if the cops come, guess what? Who are they gonna believe? In other words, you're gonna be dragged, you're basically potentially could be beaten up or taken advantage of, and no one's gonna really believe you because I'm the innocent white little girl.
I already knew I had him because there was simply no competition out there for me. But let's just look at it objectively. You had this average black American guy who now was able to choose between what he was dealing with before and somebody completely new. And let me tell you, the moment I stepped into that man's life, he really didn't know how to deal with my femininity, because I was not loud. I was not screaming. I was not trying to, be louder than him. I didn't interrupt him, because that's not something that I learned from home. If somebody would speak, and especially a man, you would let that man speak, and then you would listen and then say whatever you have to say, right? So I was clean. I cooked. He didn't know what it was when a woman is actually in the room asking him, like, do you want something to drink? Before I got myself something to drink. Do you want something to eat? Before I started to eat my food, I would ask him, do you want to have a bite? I would come out of nowhere and just have a fruit bowl and just offer him some fruit. He didn't know none of this. So my husband, back then boyfriend, really thought this was a dream come true. He didn't know how to deal with none of this, because all this me coming through, just being nurturing by nature, his peoples and his family didn't even do that for him. Like the family, there is no family unit. The average family, especially black American family, has barely a family unit. There is no breakfast, lunch, and dinner at set times. And these are things that I introduced my husband to with my family.
Now, I will say this, on her last point about like the family dinners and stuff like that. Growing up in my household, in a black household, we had dinner. I don't think it was always at the same time, but it was always around the same time. I'll put it that way. We definitely had dinner around 7, like 6, 7 o'clock every day, like around 4, maybe 5 o'clock on Sundays. Like you go to church and stuff, and then you get out, eat early and all of that stuff, right? But it was always like that. Maybe Fridays and Saturdays it might be a little bit different, just because it was family movie night on Fridays and things like that. So I definitely remember having those type of structures, and all of the black families that I knew of had similar type of structures. But I do know what she's talking about the family unit. And it's a sad thing, but with the generation that I grew up in, I think that it kind of ended with us. I think like our parents were the last parents and last generation to really be family oriented like that. It is not the 90s no more at all. Definitely make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. If you're in an interracial relationship, put it in the comments, man. Give your 2 cents. I really want to hear what you guys got to say. But with that, until the next one, you guys have a blessed one.